It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 32. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Friday. Yes, you heard that right. It's Friday, May 12th, 2023, and it's a pretty epic day in the video game world. And we are doing an early podcast this week on this epic day, so welcome to the show, the Dep Lewis Show, if you didn't already know. All right, so welcome to the show. We got a great show for you this week. It's going to be a little bit different than usual. We're kind of on the fly here. We're Dep Lewis Show is hitting the road, so this is an early show. And we're just going to kind of fly through it and talk about my normal video game things as usual. And it's going to be great. So, all right, the first bit of housekeeping here for the Dep Lewis Show. Follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, and tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell anyone you want to know, tell a dog, tell a bird, tell a squirrel. Maybe they'll pass it on. You never know. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. That email box is open 24/7, 365 days a year. So don't you even worry about it. Send an email through. Maybe it'll be read on this here podcast. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. The Buzzsprout page is the perfect hub for you to find the best place to listen to the Dep Lewis Show. And if you'd like to support even further, please go to patreon.com/DepLewisShow. And you can be a ground floor tier supporter and support the Dep Lewis Show in the greatest way you can with your wallet and with your cold hard cash. And it's just a general support tier. So that's just an option for you out there in the world. We got clips on YouTube and we got clips on TikTok. So please enjoy all those things. Like them, subscribe them, share them, do all those things to help this show become the worldwide sensation that it needs to be. So welcome to the show today, episode 32. So this is a little bit of a fly by the seat of your pants episode. This is the week of where Zelda, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom has been released. It has been released today and I've been playing it. I was playing some throughout the day, and I'm ready to play it right after this podcast and more throughout the weekend. Like I said before, I'm off all next week. I'm going to some baseball games in another state, so I'll have that week. I'm taking my Switch with me. I'll be playing while I'm traveling, playing some while I'm on vacation, and then obviously playing when I'm back before next week's show. So next week's show will be very Zelda Tears of the Kingdom heavy. That should be what I'm mainly talking about, mainly playing. So we'll have a huge show next week about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and also about reporting back on the Atlanta Braves games that I'm going to. So it's going to be an epic week for the Dep Lewis Show, and that's why this one's coming to you a little bit early. I'm going to be traveling this weekend, so we are talking the video games on a Friday, and I'm going to be able to tell you about the few things I've been playing. I've been checking on some, let's get into the format. So we're going to talk about what I've been playing, a few things. We're mainly going to talk about some Zelda today, since I've been playing that for a few hours. In the mid section, we're going to smoke on some mid. We'll talk about what I've been seeing across the video game landscape. Excuse that's a sip of beer right now, because it's a Friday night. It's a great time to drink a beer. All right, so in the midsection, we'll talk about what I've been seeing across the video game landscape. There's one bit of news, one game that was announced, and then we're going to do a June 2023 video game look ahead. That's going to be the main meat, as they say on the Fire Escape podcast, of the midsection. We're going to talk about the June 2023 video game look ahead. All the great games coming out in June. There's a great handful of those games, and a lot of games that you might want to spend some cash on and be aware of. So that's what we're going to talk about in the midsection. In the final section of the show, we're going to talk the miscellaneous talk section. We're going to talk some books. We're going to talk some sports, and that's going to be the main two areas of focus for that section. So we are going to get right into it. So, welcome to the show. I hope it'll be a great one. I hope you've been doing good out there in the world. Hope you've been having a great week. Hopefully you copped the new Zelda today. Hopefully, I saw online some people went to a midnight release of it, and that was bringing up the question, when's the last time I went to a midnight release? And it is a very good question, and I really can't think of what it would be. I was thinking it could be Halo 3, but then I also heard someone today mention they went to Skyrim's, and I think Skyrim was one I went to for sure, and I think that was 2011. But I really can't decide if I've been to anything since then, so I don't know. If you're somebody that knows me and wants to email some feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com, maybe we went to a midnight release together, but or if you want to write in about when the last one you went to was, let me know. But I saw huge lines for people picking up Zelda. I definitely went to bed early last night and was like, hey, I'm going to play some of this game early when I wake up, and I did. And I definitely thought about playing it at midnight, but I just went to sleep. But this is a very, huge, historic, monumental, great day for the Legend of Zelda. And it seems, there's not going to be any spoilers on this show about it, especially not this early. But it seems, if you're going to worried about spoiling if it's good or bad, this is a spoiler. But it looks like it's amazing. It looks like it's living up to all the hype. It looks like the only knock that I've heard is possibly that, it is iterating on the Breath of the Wild. So it has the base of Breath of the Wild that it's working from. Breath of the Wild was introduced to us as, a brand new kind of thing that we haven't really seen before with Zelda. And that is really the only knock on this game. It sounds like it's expanding everything. The story's better. The music's better. The combat options are better. It's sounding like all those kind of things are true. So, I've just been playing it some today myself, and I don't really see any flaws quite yet. And I haven't really heard too many out there in the universe either, unless you just didn't really like the first game in general. You're probably not going to like this one. But, all right, we're getting too far ahead of ourselves with these Zelda talk. But it's a very exciting day. And let's see here. Let's get back into our format here. So let's see if there's notes from last show. All right, the only note I have from last show is every time I say Pacific time, so PT, when I listen back, it sounds like I say specific. So I want you to know I know it's Pacific and not specific. But it could just be something I'm fucking up saying. But I just wanted to point that out, and I thought it was kind of funny. So that's my only note from last show that I have discovered and want to bring to the podcast today. There's probably some more notes I need, but what can you do? We're here to talk about some video games. So that's what we're going to do. So in the first section of this show, what I've been playing, let's talk about something from last week, Splatoon 3. And they had a Splatfest, and it was the Legend of Zelda theme. I wonder why. Big release today. And I played a good bit more of this. So I played a good bit of this Splatfest, but it was all for naught. The Power Team won. They were up at halftime, and the Power Team took the whole Splatfest. So I was Team Courage over here. There was Team Wisdom. And, Courage and Wisdom just really, really, really stunk it up in this fest. And Team Power really just kicked ass. And I really did think about switching to Power right before I said Courage on the podcast. And right when I actually went to pick the team, I was like, oh, Power's going to do it. So this is me kind of calling my shot after the fact. But I did try to go on Power. And if I did, I would have been a winner. But now I am 3-3 in the Splatfest. So I'm back to 500, back to 50%. I'm back to unacceptable terms. And I need to get back on good terms the next time the Splatfest rolls through. And I will let you know. I will keep you abreast of when the next Splatfest will be and what theme it'll be. I'm guessing, like I said last show, I think it'll be a summer theme. But we will see. So Splatoon 3, best game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show for 2022. I believe you can purchase it as part of the Nintendo voucher game. Man, I can't say that either. The Nintendo Switch game voucher promotion. If you want to cop Zelda this weekend, if you want to cop Splatoon 3 along with it, you can get both of them for $100 total. So a pretty great deal. So go check out Splatoon 3. It is still a great game. It remains to be a great game even after the year it's been released. All right, the next game I've been playing is earlier in the week was some Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC. I'm still playing this. I'm still getting killed by death, and I've even died in the castle a few times, so I think I have regressed in my skills for this game, but I'm still having a whole lot of fun with this game. I'm back to mainly playing it on the Switch, but now the main thing I'm going to be playing on the Switch is that little game that came out today. But I just wanted to shout out Dead Cells again, that it's been in my rotation of games. I've been, just keep running through this game, trying to get some upgrades going. I'm trying to get better starting weapons right now in the rotation. I think that'll help me, and it's just been really fun. I think I'm already pretty good at Dead Cells, and I think I need to get better, though, to get past Death, because he is a really tough enemy, and I'm tired of getting smited by that fool. I'm ready to get past him. I got to get past the next boss, and then I probably got to get past the final boss is what I'm thinking the structure is, so we will see. I don't know if I'll ever persevere, but I'm going to damn try. I'm going to try to persevere on the Dead Cells, but it's honestly probably taking a back seat to everything, just like everything else, because of this next game we're going to talk about. So let's keep on moving. We're just going to keep on moving this show. So I played some Dead Cells this week. That's all I really have to say about that. But the next game that everyone is talking about this week is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And let's see. I got some notes here. Talk about the Zelda hype. Yeah, the Zelda hype has been real. I've been trying to avoid some content on this because I haven't really wanted to see too much about it. So, I'm not going to give away any spoilers or anything too crazy today. But I just want to say that this game has started off very, very great. It's been very fun. It seems like improvements to the formula all the way, across the board, as far as I can see. Has a nice new spin. I think it's performing, graphically and technically very well. I think that's pretty cool. I think it's, showing off the nice graphics of the Switch, and being able to use the art style, the more cartoony not cartoony, but you know what I mean. That's just another example of the Switch having good graphics. So if people think Switch is long in the tooth, this is another example of a game that's looking pretty great on there. And you don't have to have the most realistic graphics to have something that looks good. And Zelda's using the tools they have and making a great product. So that's one thing I can definitely say about this game. One thing I want to say about this game, maybe spoiler territory if you're really worried, but this game starts you off in a cave, just like every other game in the universe, or many other great games in the universe. Love to start you off in a cave, in a prison, in some dark, secluded place that you come out of. And when you pop out of there and you see the real world, it's an epic moment, like a Fallout 3 thing, or Skyrim, basically Elder Scrolls games, or there's many other ones, Elden Ring. All these games are starting you in a cave and you're coming out and you're doing the tutorial, and this is another example of that. So it's just crazy to keep seeing that be done, but it's still pretty cool nonetheless. And the Breath of the Wild started that way too, and I've been playing one day of this. So all I wrote was you get to see some Zelda at the beginning, which is very cool. You get to hear her talk. I really like her voice actor. I like her character a whole lot, and I like the interactions she's having with Link early on in the story. There is no start-up menu when you first play this game. It just goes right into it. I booted up the game. I clicked into Zelda. I think I walked away to heat up my coffee, and I came back, and I could hear voices talking. And the game had already started. I was already in this cave area with Zelda, and we moseyed along and did our thing. It was really cool. So, here's some more spoilery stuff. Maybe hit the +30 if you want. I don't know. It's nothing too crazy. But the Ultra Hand is very cool. I won't, it's a new power in this game, so look out for the Ultra Hand. I've heard the Ultra Hand is I'm not going to say the basis for how this game was designed or whatever, but it's the main, one of the main components and one of the main new things that is introduced in this game and a really big function, and allows for a lot to be done. So the Ultra Hand is what you want to look out for, and you obviously get this very early. This game has a little bit of Banjo Kazooie nuts and bolts going on early in the game. If you've seen some of those trailers, you can start doing some of that stuff pretty early on in this game, and it's very intuitive and it's very easy to do and fun. And if you're worried about the building aspect of it, I would say don't. It's really really intuitive, like I just said, and it's very cool and self-explanatory and not overwhelming in any way. It's just it functions great, so don't be deterred by that. The Zonai are here. That's the ancient civilization we're discovering. The Zonai, and Mr. Rauru is I guess he's a Zonai. I don't know. I could be wrong on that, but he's on the island, on the Sky Island, and I really love his name, Rauru, and he's a really, really cool looking character, and I can't believe there's that cool of a character this early in the game besides Link or Zelda. So Rauru, thank you for your guidance, and I hope you're all a bunch of Rauru fans out there. We could he could be in contention for best character of the year so far, just because of the way I think he looks cool. So Rauru, shout out to you for being really cool. The graphics are great. The cave is all dark. Yeah, the game starts in the cave. It's all dark, kind of brown, more subdued tones, and then you get out into the world, and it looks good. So you're trying to escape the gloom that's going on. So this game is seeming very cool. I'm going to be playing a lot of it this weekend and in the upcoming week and in the future. So we're going to have a lot of Zelda content on this show, and we're just going to have some sort of short content today on this show. Just to let you know that the game is out. Go buy it right now, $69.99 on the Nintendo Switch. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I think if you want to cop Breath of the Wild with it, it's in that game voucher promotion as well. So check that game voucher promotion out. It's a really, really good deal. I didn't utilize it myself because I already owned some of these games on the list, previous to the deal coming out. Or I would have been able to use it on a few games like Fire Emblem, or I don't know, like I'm saying, the old Zelda or Splatoon 3 even. There's a few games that I bought recently, but really, really cool. Tears of the Kingdom is seeming like a 10 out of 10 pretty much. I heard one person give it a 9.75, and that was only the knock on, that was Kyle Hilliard from MinMax and Game Informer. He was just giving it the knock that I was explaining earlier of, it's just iterating on Breath of the Wild. Not in a bad way, but the first game was just a little more shocking or whatever when you were first playing it and discovering things. So it's not completely hitting those highs, but it sounds like it's doing a lot of other things, possibly better than the first game. So, overall, I think it seems like it could be a good argument of which one's going to be better, which I think that's exactly what people wanted going into this game. So, check out some footage that I'm showing you here from early on in the game. And I'm I'm going to keep playing it, maybe stream some, and this is going to be the main focus of the Dep Lewis Show for a little while here. So this is a Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom podcast on the Dep Lewis Show for the foreseeable future. So we are going to wrap up this first section of the show talking about what I've been seeing, talking about the plans for the show, and talking about this podcast being early. And next week's is going to be a really, a lot of Zelda talk. I'm going to take some notes while I'm playing. We're going to get into the Zelda, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in a great way next week. So just be expecting that next week in this section of the show. And that is a teaser for you to be aware of. So we're going to take the first break of the show. We're going to come back from the midsection. We're going to talk some video game news. And then we're going to talk about I put together a list of games I think look cool that are coming out in June 2023. So we're going to do a June 2023 video game look ahead. And all these sections of the show today are going to be a little bit short and a little bit quick. So, you don't have to plan too much time to listen to the show. So definitely please come back in just a minute and listen to it. And I'll be back to tell you some news and some good stuff in the midsection in just a minute. So come on back after this music. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 32. Thank you for rejoining the show. This is the midsection. We're going to roll up some mid. We're going to pick out the seeds and stems, and then we're going to roll it up, and we're going to take this video game news right to the face. So here we go. Let's get into it. So the first bit of news was a game that was supposed to be, we don't know when it's coming out, but Hollow Knight Silksong, the sequel to Hollow Knight, is... last year Xbox had a show and they said every game in this show is going to release within the next year. And I believe the end of that was June 2023. They didn't give any specific date. They didn't really talk about Silksong too much on that show. But everyone was like, all right, cool. They give us like it's not a firm commitment, a very, very soft commitment. But they gave us drop dead dates. So I was like, okay, they're not going to lie about this, are they? But what do you know? The game, they came out this week or whatever and announced that this game has been delayed past June 2023, so I don't know if they have given any more details besides that. But they wanted to, I guess, calm everybody down who was expecting, checking from that date from last year's show, where they haven't really talked about it too much since then. They were very quiet about this game, very secretive, and that kind of makes me think it's not coming out soon. This is one where you would wish maybe it would be like a shadow drop, but it's just weird. Do you think they would show some more of this? Hollow Knight 1, I think was a huge success. I think it was critically acclaimed, and I think it sold decently well. And I don't know. I think it's strange that they're not hyping up this Silksong some more if it's coming out, unless they are really just going to shadow drop it. But I don't understand. But either way, it'll be interesting to see if this game comes out in the second half of the year. I would kind of hope so. I think that would be acceptable to fans. I think a lot of fans, when they saw that show last year, they're like, okay, they were hopeful, but they weren't all the way sure they should be hopeful about that. And they're like, okay, they said every game's going to come out within the year, but that's really, really far out, and not like I'm saying, not a really strong commitment on anything. So I don't think it's shocking to see it got delayed, but it's just a little strange. So we'll see. We'll keep following the news here on the Dep Lewis Show about the Hollow Knight Silksong. I played a good bit of Hollow Knight, and I like it, and I would maybe play some Silksong. So it'll be something to definitely keep up with, and most of the video game world is keeping up with it as well. So we will see. All right, another bit of news from last week was Game Freak, the developer for the recent for Pokemon games, has a new project coming, and they are developing this with called Project Bloom, and they're partnering. So Game Freak is partnering with Private Division on this new IP called Project Bloom. And Private Division has developed things like the Outer World, Kerbal Space Program, and Ollie World. Game Freak are the Pokemon masters. And all we really know about this game is it's an action-adventure game, and all they shared was some concept art. So it's a new IP. It's supposed to launch during Take-Two's fiscal year of 2026. So this is a very early announcement, but something that people will be looking forward to, including myself. And it's cool to see Game Freak doing something different, and a lot of people complain about some Pokemon gameplay and things like that being outdated, and Private Division doing some more recent games, and Kerbal Space Program and Outer Worlds and Ollie World are even kind of fresh takes on some things, and it could be a good partnership. And obviously, if they're partners, they think it will be as well. So we will see. We'll be keeping up with this, but don't expect Mr. or Mrs. Project Bloom for a long time, but 2026. But a cool thing, you don't always get new IPs. So it's nice to see some devs have a plan to create a new IP, and I hope it grows well. And those are the things you really want to see succeed, because a lot of people like to complain about getting sequels. So you really should go out there and support these new IPs, and hopefully they're worthy of our support is the second half of that coin, but we will see. So, let's keep up with that as it goes. All right, so the next part of this midsection is a June 2023 video game look ahead. So get strapped in for the best games in the Dep Lewis Show's opinion coming out in June 2023. The games you might want to spend your cash on, the games you might want to, I don't know, you got to spend your cash on them. That's all you got to do. Save your cash for them. Maybe get them on a promotion or do something. Trade some games in. Do something to get these games, but they look really cool, and most of these, or some of these, I'll be buying too. So the first one, and these are going in chronological order of when they're being released, is Street Fighter 6. It comes out for PS5, Xbox Series X, S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on June 2nd, 2023. I'm definitely buying this. I'm very excited. I'm purchasing on the Xbox because I have online access with my subscription until next year. This game is going to have a diverse roster of 18 fighters. It offers a highly evolved combat system with 3 control types, classic, modern, and dynamic, allowing you to quickly play to your skill level. And the new real-time commentary feature adds all the hype of a competitive match, as well as easy-to-understand explanations about your gameplay. There's a new thing called the Drive Gauge. It is the system to manage your resources. They say to use it wisely in order to claim victory. And this game will be $59.99. So this is a day one purchase for me. I believe this is the most hyped game that I have now on my radar after The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has been released. And I really can't wait for this. I played a hell of a whole lot of Street Fighter 4. I didn't play so much of 5, and I'm ready to get back into 6, and it sounds like they are doing things to get the game back to its heights of 4 rather than some of the lows of 5. So I like the direction this game sounds like it's going. I don't know if the demo is still available out there, but there was a demo out here. I tried a little bit of it. But for this game, it's I don't need to see too much of it before I buy this, kind of like Zelda. This is more of a, I don't want to see so much so I can get into it and really, really enjoy it because I know I'm going to like it. So Street Fighter 6 coming June 2nd. All right, the next game coming that I'm interested in for June 2023 is We Love Katamari Reroll plus Royal Reverie. It's releasing on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on the same day as Street Fighter 6/2 2023. So that's probably a bad argument for me purchasing it on that day because I don't want to probably drop all the cash for 2 games. But this game looks really cool and something I could put on the wish list for later in the year. The king of the cosmos once accidentally destroyed all the stars in the universe. He sent his son, the prince, to Earth and ordered him to create a large Katamari bigger and bigger, rolling up all the things on the Earth. The Katamari that he created floated in space, sparkling, and brought back the lost starry sky. As the starry sky was restored, the king's fans gradually grew in number all over the world. The king wanted to respond to the wishes of his fans for his success, and the prince kept rolling the Katamari to make everyone's dreams come true. So very, very whimsical, very, very cool, very different, and the gameplay in this is very, very simple, but it's addicting and fun. There are new additional features such as the Royal Reverie are also available. In his youth, the king received a strict education from his father, the Great King. New challenges have been added where you can roll around as the king in his boyhood. The days of hard study and intense training can all be rolled through in 5 all-new challenges. Will the young king be able to clear the tough challenges? That's the question that you'll have to answer while you play this game. They are touting this to be a simple but very deep game. And I did not see a pre-order price on this, but I could anticipate this being, in the $39.99 range. I don't really anticipate this being a $60 game unless the argument that there's multiple the Katamari Reroll and the Royal Reverie is new. I don't know what the price is, but I'll keep you up to date here on the Dep Lewis Show as soon as I see anything. So moving along on the packed month of June for just big video game releases. This next one is something that I might not necessarily play, but it's definitely a big video game release and a game a lot of people are going to play and something I could dabble in the future, and that is Diablo 4. It's releasing on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on June 6, 2023. So that's a hell of a time span right there. We've only gone 4 days in that month, from the 2nd to the 6th, and we have these 3 releases. So that's pretty insane. Diablo 4 is the endless battle between the high heavens and the burning hells. Rages on as a hatred threatens to consume sanctuary, with ceaseless demons to slaughter, countless abilities to master, nightmarish dungeons, and legendary loot. I think loot is the main driver here. This vast world brings the promise of of adventure and devastation. This game also introduces the fifth and final class, the Necromancer. These cunning summoners conjure vengeful hordes of the undead, embracing an essence that flows into 3 powerful bastions of bone, blood, or shadow to bring low their enemies. Embark on the campaign solo or with friends, meeting memorable characters through beautifully dark settings and a gripping story, or explore an expansive endgame and shared world where players can meet in towns to trade, team up to battle world bosses, or descend into PvP zones to test their skills against other players. No lobbies necessary with cross-play, cross-progression, and couch co-op on the Xbox. All great things. Couch co-op is nice to see in there too, because that is not common these days, and something that's somebody out there will be appreciating. The standard version of this game is $69.99, and something I hope does very well, and I hope it does well enough that it inspires me to give it a try. And I think that's what it'll take. But I just wanted to let you know this game is coming out, and a lot of people, including yourself, could possibly be excited for this. All right, so moving along, June. June's got a lot of damn games. The next one is something that I think I do want to play, and that is Final Fantasy 16, the XV, the I, on the PS5. It comes to the PS5 on June 22nd, 2023. This is the 16th standalone entry in the legendary Final Fantasy series. It marks a darker turn, as they say, for the RPG franchise, with a complex tale of revenge, power struggles, and an unavoidable tragedy. The standard edition of this game is $69.99, so it's seen one of those price hikes like all the next-gen games. And my Final Fantasy history, I think 10 is the first one I played. I remember shopping around for a copy of this on PS2 back in the day. I don't think I played very much, maybe like 12 hours, maybe to 12 to 18 or something like that. And then I played a decent bit of Final Fantasy 15 and really liked this. I played this on my Xbox One back when the Xbox One kind of first released. There weren't a whole lot of games besides some third-party things on there, and this was one of the games that I really got hooked on. And I believe when the Switch came out is kind of why I switched over from that game. I think I got the Switch. I didn't get the Switch at launch, but I got it a little bit after, and then I really started playing a lot of Switch games. But the most played Final Fantasy for me would probably be 15, and then that game came out in 2016 is what I was saying. And then Final Fantasy VII Remake, I have some history with that. I played some of this when it was released, and it would be cool to play some more of that as well. So this Final Fantasy 16, I think it'll just be something cool to have a new game on my PS5, and a new exclusive on my PS5. So I think that's why I could be trying this. But I could still be pretty heavy into Street Fighter and possibly Zelda by then. So this is a very heavy a couple months for video games, and it's been a great year in my opinion so far. There's been a whole list of games that I haven't played that I would really like to, and then there's been a whole list of games that I played that I really enjoyed. So I think that's about as good as you can get from the video game perspective. And Final Fantasy 16 coming on the 22nd of June. All right, so there's 2 more games coming in June that I'm interested in. The next one is Sonic Origins Plus. It comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on June 23rd, 2023. This is classic Sonic redefined in widescreen HD. Explore 4 classic remastered Sonic titles: Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and Sonic CD in high definition, with all new opening and ending animations for each title. There's also 12 Sonic Game Gear titles, so you can experience 12 beloved Sonic Game Gear titles on current generation platforms. So total 16 classic titles in this damn collection. 16 classic titles, 1 timeless collection for $39.99 is the pre-order price of this collection. So that's pretty amazing. I think I had a Game Gear back in the day, and I definitely Sonic was the main game I played on there. So this could be a nostalgia overload for me, and I like the $39.99 price range, and I really like the idea of these collections. I kind of wish I purchased them more often, or maybe that's, I don't know, but these collections are cool. There's that Atari collection, the whatever anniversary that came out last year, the TMNT collection. There's all sorts of that Mega Man collection just came out. I think these things are cool, and I'm definitely interested in them, and I'll definitely be checking this out in June. But like I'm saying, there's a ton of games in June, but Sonic Origins Plus is coming June 23rd, so one day after Final Fantasy. All right. And the last game that the Dep Lewis Show is clocking for June 2023 is Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. This game is coming to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and PC on June 27, 2023, so it's going to close out the month. This is as they say, an unforgettable tale of friendship, family, and farming blooms back to life on Nintendo Switch. So this is in the farming sim genre. a little bit, some Earthbound, some Animal Crossing, some things like that, which are games I really like. Your new life begins in Forgotten Valley, or Stardew Valley, but this one begins in Forgotten Valley, a tranquil community where your father and his friend Takakura once dreamed of running a farm. As you befriend the valley's residents and fulfill your father's legacy, you'll live a carefree life on the farm, growing crops and raising animals. As the seasons go by, you'll find your lifelong partner, raise a child together, and watch them grow up before your very eyes. So after each day's work on the farm is done, you can go fishing, hunt for ancient treasures at the local dig site, or chat with your friends in town to build precious memories. And when the years have passed, your child will be old enough to choose a career for themselves when they inherit the farm, or will they find their calling somewhere else? Only time will tell. Whether this is your first story of Season's adventure or you're returning to Forgotten Valley, a wonderful life awaits you. So this sounds very cool. I really like the sim aspects of this game. Sounds neat. I like the idea of having a kid and that having some some variability to what can happen there. And it sounds like there could be a lot of variability in this world. And it definitely seems kind of very cutesy and cozy and just cool. It could be a relaxing, fun style of game, and it's something I definitely like, and we'll be checking into this at the end of June. Most of these will be games that I am checking, putting on a wish list and checking out for later in the year, but a few of these I'll be buying right away. So let's go back over these games for the June 2023 look ahead. That's Street Fighter 6. That is We Love Katamari Reroll and Royal Reverie. That is Diablo 4. That is Final Fantasy 16. That is Sonic Origins Plus, and that is The Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life. There's also other titles coming out in June if you want to check those out. Game Informer has a great website. If you go to Google, you can type in Game Informer 2023, video game list, and it breaks it down by months. You can see what's coming out, and they have the dates for everything. And the end of it even has games that have been rumored but don't have a date, like Hollow Knight Silksong. So go use that, and that's what I use as a resource for the Dep Lewis Show as well. So that is going to wrap up the midsection of this show. We talked about Hollow Knight Silksong being delayed. We talked about Game Freak and Private Division's new IP called Project Bloom that we have to look out for in a couple years. And then we did a June 2023 video game look ahead. The main games I want to purchase there are Street Fighter 6 and possibly Final Fantasy 16. I think those would be the two that I'll definitely purchase out of that list of cool looking games I talked about. And so we're going to take one more break on this Dep Lewis Show episode 32. And we're going to come back for the miscellaneous talk section. I'm going to give you an update on some book talk. I'm making some more progress on my Goodreads challenge, so I'm going to talk about the books I've read. I'm going to tell you which one I'm reading now, and I'll tell you about all the books I've read in the year. And I've actually I've done a quick ranking of those, so I'm going to rank them even more at the end of the year. But I'm going to give you a sneak peek of the Dep Lewis Show best book of the year for 2023. So that's coming up in the miscellaneous talk section, and then we're going to talk some sports. We're going to talk some Carolina Panthers, and we're going to talk some Atlanta Braves. And that's what we're going to do. So go take a quick break. You're going to hear some lovely music again, and we'll be right back for the final section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 32. Welcome back to the best show you'll ever know. This is the Dep Lewis Show, episode 32. This is the final section of the show today, the miscellaneous talk section. So let's get into some book talk. That's the main thing we're going to talk about. So I use this site called Goodreads. I've created they let you create a challenge for the year of how many books you like to read. I'm trying to read 13 books in 2023. So one book a month plus an extra book in there. I'm currently at 7 books on the month, so on the year. So I'm 3 books ahead of schedule, which is pretty great since I didn't hit my goal last year. And the books I've read, I'm going to give you the ranking of them. I'm going to go from 7 to 1. I'm just going to tell you what they are. It's just going to be quick, and just if you want some book information, here's some good options for you that I think are really good. I've enjoyed every one of these books, a whole lot. I would recommend them to you as well. So number 7, I read I'd Like to Play Alone Please by Tom Segura. Number 6 is The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. Number 5 is Captain: The Last Horizon by Will White. Number 4 is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. That's the most recent one I read. Number 3 is Tress of the Emerald Sea, another one by Brandon Sanderson, who is amazing. Writes really, really fun, cool books. Number 2 is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I really enjoyed that. I'm a huge video game lover, so this book was right up my alley and something I should have read a long time ago because I enjoyed the hell out of it. And then the number 1 book I've read this year is The Lost Metal, another one by Brandon Sanderson. So That's a book that came out last November that I was just catching up on this year, and is my favorite book that I've read this year on the Dep Lewis Show. So this is my, these books haven't all been released in 2023. I'm not generally trying to read all new books. I'm just kind of taking recommendations from a friend, and I have a few authors I do read their new stuff. But I'm just going to rank these books on which one I enjoyed the most, this year when I read them. So that's my quick ranking for now. I'm going to rank these again, at the end of the year. Hopefully I'll have a pretty good list, maybe even more than 13. We'll see. Hopefully I'm going to have at least 13. The other books I'm looking out for this year are Waybound, which is Cradle number 12 by Will White. The boy Lyndon is back. And then I'm looking forward to Defiant, which is Skyward book number 4 by Brandon Sanderson. My girl Spencer will be back there. And then Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry. My girl Viv is back there, so I'm excited for all 3 of these. And those are another 3 that I got dialed in to read. And I'll keep you up to date with what I'm reading. I'm reading a book called Lightbringer right now, and it's the first book in the series. I'm like 10% in this book. I'm just kind of getting into it. So it's basically about different colors in the world have different function differently and give you different powers and different control over different things and represent different things. So that is the main fantasy kind of thing going on in this world, magic based on color, which is very cool. And it's a pretty long book, so it seems like there's a lot of characters and a lot of things going on. So I am just trying to get settled into that world right there. But I'm just giving you an update on my good read so far this year. So that's going to end the book talk for today. So let's get into the worldwide world of sports. Let's talk about the favorite teams of the Dep Lewis Show. The official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show, the Carolina Panthers, have been saying that Andy Dalton is their current starter. But I am hoping, and it seems likely, that Bryce Young will actually start game 1. I was actually seeing some Bryce Young throws to Mr. Mingo on Twitter today, so it was nice to see Bryce Young throwing to receivers. Every team's been putting hype videos out there of their new players, in practice and what they're doing, and I've been waiting to see Bryce out there. A lot of people are also commenting on how small he looks behind the offensive line, but that is going to be the hack take on Bryce Young, that he's too small to play. So that's going to be the thing that he's proving every day out there against, but it should be also something that people need to quit talking about as much unless he really does just start performing poorly. This guy won a Heisman. He's the first pick overall. He obviously has some talent and some skill. I don't think every person on Twitter or out there in the universe saying that he's small. They're just kind of hedging their bets there. They think that he's small. They think that they're going to look smart saying that he's going to flop, but they don't really know. Just like the Panthers don't really know. Almost like Bryce Young doesn't really know. He's got to put in all the work to get there. So we will see. But I'm hoping he is starting week 1 for the Panthers is my hope. Yeah, earlier in the week I said we haven't seen any footage of him throwing. That was weird. But as of today, I'm glad to report there's some footage on there. So go check the Panthers social media out. You'll see some footage. The Panthers schedule came out this week. The main highlight for me so far is that there's a Christmas Eve game at the bank in Charlotte versus Green Bay. So I have a friend who is a Packers fan, and hopefully I can get him to go to this game with me. It'll be very fun. So we will see. And then they play another highlight on the calendar for me is they play DJ Moore and the Bears on Thursday Night Football, I think is when the date is. But exciting to see. It'll be fun to see DJ Moore. It'll be weird to see him on the opposite side, but he's one of my favorite players in Panthers history. But the Panthers will be facing the Falcons, the Saints, the Seahawks, the Vikings, the Lions, the Dolphins. Their bye week is week number 7, which is a pretty, I'd say that's a pretty good week for a bye week, almost halfway. The Texans, the Colts, the Bears, the Cowboys, the Titans, the Bucks, the Saints, the Falcons, the Packers, the Jags, and the Bucks. So really, really going to be great. I'm excited for the new football season. Panthers got some new jersey designs out there. I got to cop one of those before the season starts, and hopefully I'll be able to go to a few of these games, in particular the game on Christmas Eve, which would be really, really fun. So I am pretty hype on the Panthers, and nothing new to report right there. I hope all the players are reporting to the building, getting to know each other, starting to see how each other works out there on the field, and hopefully they're making a lot of progress. I'm in a pretty good state for my hope for the Panthers, so that is nice. All right, so the official team of the Dep Lewis Show, my favorite team in the universe, best sport in the universe, and that team is the Atlanta Braves. And let's talk about them. Did they beat the Orioles early on Sunday? It went to extra innings and was a great game, and Money Mike walked him off with a bomb. So it was a great game. Go Money Mike. He had a cutter that was up and away, and he boomed that shit to left center. The Braves, as of Monday morning, are up 7 games in the NL East. So that was Monday of last week. The Mets and Marlins were 7 games behind. The Phillies were 8 behind. And Nationals were 9.5 games behind. All the other teams were pretty close in a little group at least, but the Braves have a pretty good lead amongst, over them all. The Braves have been playing the Red Sox this week, and they got the Blue Jays this weekend. They split with the Red Sox 1-1, and then they have the Blue Jays. There's a game coming on just a little bit here on this Friday night. So they play them Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday versus the Blue Jays in Toronto, and I'm very excited for that series. And then the best news of the Dep Lewis Show. So I said the Dep Lewis Show is going on the road. I'm going to be at the games next Monday, next Tuesday, and next Wednesday in Texas. I'm going to the Braves games in Texas. So I'll have a lot to report back on these games and what happened. I'm ready to see the ballpark and things like that. I've never seen the Braves at an away game, so that's going to be cool. We have different seats. We're sitting in different sections for each game, so we're going to have different points of view to talk about and experience and see the ballpark. And just really hoping for some nice weather, and I'm hoping for 3 Braves wins. And I'm excited about having a week off of work and taking the Dep Lewis Show on the road. So next week's show is going to, we'll talk about that in a minute. But the Braves, I'm going to be going to check them out. I'm going to be watching these games this weekend, and just can't wait for it. So that's really it. I'm just looking forward to getting to it. So go Braves. Hope I'm seeing some wins in person. I got all my jerseys packed up. I got some hats packed up. I got some shirts. I'm ready to show out in Texas with all my gear and rep for the Dep Lewis Show. And it should be a really, really great time. So, thank you for listening to all the great sports talk on the Dep Lewis Show weekly. And I'll have a lot of great talk next week. So please come back next week to hear the sports talk. It could be some great stuff there. So that is going to wrap up the miscellaneous talk section for the show. We talk book talk. Use Goodreads if you want to create a book challenge. I'm at 7 of 13, so I'm doing pretty good there. We talked about the Carolina Panthers. Shout out to Bryce Young out there throwing on the social media. It's nice to see him in the Panthers jersey and see him working with the dudes out there. And then the Atlanta Braves, I'm coming to see you. I'm going to Texas to see you, and I hope to see some wins, and I can't wait. I can't wait to report back to you on the Dep Lewis Show about how the Braves did in those games. So, thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for listening to it early. It's a little bit shorter of a show, a little bit less detail going on. We did a look ahead to June. Had to try to just think of some things to, some useful things to talk about this week on this short show. I got some traveling to do this weekend. So it's going to be a little while before, next week's episode 33 should be on a regular day Sunday. I'm not out of town all week, so I'll get back at some point after those games, and I'll have some days to play, to recover and play a lot of Zelda. So I should have some really good stuff to talk to you about next week about some Zelda. That's going to be the main meat of the show and the Atlanta Braves. So, 2 of my favorite things, in the world, some Zelda and some Atlanta Braves, and I got some new ones, and I'm going to see them in person. So really, really hitting some highs here on the Dep Lewis Show, and I hope your week goes great as well. So, thank you for listening to this show as always. I hope you have a great week. Go Braves is all I got to say. And the last little bit of business, sorry, let's get back to it. Some housekeeping. Please, if you haven't already, follow the Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review. Turn on notifications and tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. That email box is open 24/7, 365, so slide on in there. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. Clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok. Dep Lewis Show is going on the road, so I'll be back for episode 33 next Sunday. So I hope you have a great week. Play a lot of Zelda, watch a lot of baseball, and come back next week to listen to the Dep Lewis Show, because that's where I'll be. So thank you, loyal listener, and I'll see you next time, episode 33. I'm out. Peace.